Hi guys, welcome to class. Today we're going to be having a business English session, so a little bit different. We're going to be talking about management and business leaders in our countries. I'm going to talk with you about what qualities we need to be good managers and things like this, if you possess these qualities and things like this. And also later on we're going to be reading some inspirational quotes from some business managers, some high profile ones, and see if we can talk about these and think about them a bit. So let's see who can join in. I saw that there were quite a few reservations. I think there's a couple of seats left for those who didn't reserve but would still like to join in, so please join in as soon as you get the opportunity to. Enrique's there. Cool.
Hi.
Are you okay?
Cool. Okay, good.
Good to,
and you?
Not too bad. Good to speak with you again. And Michael is there.
Hi.
Perfect. Cool. Okay, so we're going to start off. Enrique, would you like to be a manager one day? A business leader?
What I would like?
Yeah.
The why?
Yes.
Because it is important. I'm student to the businessman.
Yep. Okay, so
No
you'd like
reasons
to,
more.
because it links to your studies and stuff like this, but what characteristics do you think you have that would mean you would be a good business leader?
I need to improve my characteristics about leader, the manner to leader, efficient,
Yeah.
and flexible. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So to be efficient, to be flexible.
Yeah.
Michael, what else would you say? What characteristics do you need to be a leader, and what characteristics do you have if you have these characteristics?
To be honest, humble.
To be honest. Honest,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, no, dignity, do you know?
Yeah, dignity. Okay.
And one another word, I like dignity. Do you know this word?
Yep, dignity, yep.
No, but another word,
Uh,
like dignity. Like you are honest, you do not steal anything, something like that.
Oh,
so
wait,
it's the same as
okay.
dignity. I here in Verling I had this word.
I can't think off the top of my head what you mean, but I know there's one, yeah? So to be no, I can't, I don't know.
So to be responsible and to can manage a team.
I think it begins with in or something like in. I don't know. Okay, we'll come back. We'll see if it comes up. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And Alberto is there.
Hello.
How are you
Hello.
today, Alberto? You right?
Not too bad. Yeah.
Not too bad. Cool. Okay, good to speak with you again. We're talking about management. Do you have the qualities, the
I
characteristics?
think integrity. No?
Integrity. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It was
Integrity.
Yeah, integrity.
I remembered.
Okay. Jeez, Michael, I forgot. Yes, Alberto. Do you have the characteristics, the traits to be a business leader, a manager?
No, I haven't.
Okay. And what characteristics do they have that you don't have?
No, it's a joke. But the characteristics you write are good. Efficient, flexible, honest. Honest is the one of the best, one of the most important.
Yeah.
And integrity, yeah.
Okay.
That's the and to know how manage the people, to be a leader.
Okay. So to know how to manage the people, to have some kind of strategy, some kind of know-how. Yeah. So to have technique. Cool. Okay.
No,
Dennis.
but about people. But about people. The treatment about people.
To be a people person, right? So people person, you need to like people, like dealing with people.
Well.
Yeah. So people person is someone who likes people. Okay. So
Sociable.
sociable. Yeah. To be a people person.
Yeah, but with his workers.
Okay. To develop rapport. Do you know this word? Rapport. Has anyone heard of this? So rapport is, Dennis, do you know this word?
you can talk with people at the same level, so they would understand you and they would be friendly with you, something like that.
So to develop a relationship with someone, develop a good, so you can joke with each other, you can communicate with each other at the same level, yeah? So that's to develop rapport. So the ability to develop rapport.
Good connection with people.
Yeah, to have a good connection with someone. Okay, that's cool. Dennis, anything to add? Anything that we haven't discussed already?
You should be in big love with money. And money should be when you are.
Talking with a private student earlier about this. So if a good businessman is just someone who focuses on profit or focuses on other things, yeah? So I'm going to ask you the same question, okay? So if, for example, I was a business person, which I'm not really, and I didn't just focus on profit, but I focused also on things like making my business ethical, does that mean I'm a bad business person? Okay, so this is a question I asked earlier to someone, and it's quite interesting, the response. So what would you say, Michael?
I would say that this is when you're oriented only on the profit, this is a bad thing. I mean, you maybe you cannot understand this at this moment, yeah? But when you start to do business and when you see where you can cut the corners, you see, I use new expressions, cut the corners. 10 times I heard, so 11th I use in conversation.
Good.
So cut the corners. This leads to something bad. I mean, maybe that house that you build is bad quality, or maybe food that you your company is food manufactured or what?
Which you manufacture, which you produce. Food, or which you manufacture or you produce.
So produce food would be bad quality and children may be poisoned because of that, or maybe something happened. So you should be relatively profit oriented, because you should consider all these things when you produce your goods or service, that these goods or service may harm someone or may lead to worse quality of life or something like that, or health problems. So you shouldn't be profit oriented. But
you shouldn't be completely, so you should focus on other things.
Reasonable should be profit oriented, not as I had some companies produced food or toys for children, and children was I don't know, poisoned or something like that, so they had health problems. So this is like manager that was completely profit oriented. He didn't care. He
didn't care. He disregarded the needs of his customers or whatever. But you could say, therefore, a good manager needs to think long term, not just short term profit. Great, I'm going to make a few $1 million out of this. To cut corners, which means to what? Enrique, what does this mean? To cut corners. Michael used it. Yeah,
cut corners.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, Dennis, could you explain? To cut corners.
To solve problems.
Can you write this?
Yeah, sure.
More problems, but
it's written in chat.
Just so you can see again. So to cut corners. So, for example, the easiest way is to go straight, But sometimes you might have to go to get to the same thing, but that takes a longer time. But if you can find a way to go straight and to cut corners, that will be better for you because it's easier, So it's less effort.
It's like to take a short way.
To take a shortcut, to make. So sometimes business people want to find the easiest way to make the profit. So their goal is right in front of them to make profit. They can either make profit that way, which isn't so ethical all the time, or they make the extra effort. So
they need to respect some rules or standards or quality of from what you produce. What is that? Of material, of raw material should be high quality maybe, but they cut corners and they do not use high quality materials, or they do not use standards high quality. So that's why what they produce is low quality.
Yeah, so they think, right, oh, that's good. Do I spend $100 buying a box of this material or $50 buying a box of the cheap material? I can make $50 extra. I can keep the $50. That's a person who would cut corners, be a bit lazy and not thinking about the quality. And it's a very short-term approach, yeah? So they're thinking, right, for now we're making the money, but in future, in 2 years' time, we've got no customers maybe because they're not happy. So who here thinks long-term or short-term? Not in terms of your business, whatever, if you have a business or not, but do you think long-term in terms of your career plans or in terms of the things that you do? Michael?
Ask maybe who here cut corners?
Who here? Okay, now Michael, I've been trying to.
Do you cut corners, Michael?
Michael, actually, there's a point. Are you short-term or long-term? Do you cut corners?
No, of course. I think in the future. So what I do with ethical, with this kind
ethics,
of
yeah, with ethics.
Attitude.
Yeah. Okay. You are quite ethical in your approach. You don't think, right, okay, let's make a quick buck somehow. Okay, Alberto, what about you? I was trying to avoid saying do you cut corners, but effectively I'm asking this question. So, do you cut corners? Are you long-term or short-term, Alberto?
I think there are many forms to cut corners. You can cut corners with a void, not with a void, but with make facilities with papers, with administration, with government, for example, but not changing ethics or something like that, because in the long term is horrible for the enterprise.
Yeah. So so that the enterprise, the business survives, then it's better to make sure the quality is best and the customer's happy. Okay. So Dennis, anything to add?
You have to cut corners for not doing twice or 3 times the same thing.
Yeah.
But
so to make it efficient, yeah. So you can be efficient,
but not for save money or not for that thing.
So getting it right the first time. So just don't make any mistakes. Get it right. Spend the money on quality materials, quality stuff, rather than waste. Okay, that makes sense. So the German or Japanese way, I think. Right, that's interesting. Dennis, what would you say?
To cut corners not necessarily means to act in a bad way or wrong way. It's just to act in an easy way, more sufficient way.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad term, and of course sometimes it depends on situation. It depends on your business, if to speak about business, and it depends how much money you want to have, how much money you want to earn. Because I think it's possible to be an honest businessman if it's not such a big business.
So it depends, yeah, but that's a good point actually. It's okay to cut corners, right? So to find the easier way of doing it, what's wrong with that? But you're saying, yeah, within reason, yeah, so it depends what you're cutting corners. For example, health and safety, yeah, so there's a big thing in the UK. If you want to start a food business, you have to get your premises inspected by the government. They have to make sure that everything's hygienic. It's very, very difficult to sell food in the UK. You have to go on a special course, things like this, and they inspect, yeah, to make sure everything's hygienic. But some people cut corners, yeah. Maybe they don't clean their kitchen so regularly. Maybe they buy not so good ingredients in the restaurants for the food and stuff like this, and they put things in that maybe we don't notice. I've heard stories like, for example, in restaurants in London, they put dog food in the curry, yeah, things like this. So it could happen with that way.
Dog food where?
In the curry, yeah. So I've heard there was a story. There's several stories where they put random ingredients in like the meals just to make it cheaper. But this is completely illegal, and when they're found out, they're closed down. Also, for example, recently about the horse meat scandal, right? So I guess you heard about this in Europe, and there's a big scandal with horse meat. So this was an example where they're cutting corners. Yeah, it was probably cheaper to kill a horse and sell horse than it was beef. So they sold it. Okay.
Good. To cut corners are both, are the positive form and the negative form to cut corners.
Yeah.
There
So-
are two forms to cut corners.
Yeah, so there's the way like to save time, to save money and stuff. That's okay, but to do that at the expense of making of a good product, that's probably also bad. Okay, so
But
Alberto,
usually I had negative connotation, this expression cut corners, only
usually
negative.
it is. Yeah, usually it is. But you're saying, oh yeah, we're going to cut corners. It means usually it would imply that it's something negative, something not so good. Yeah, so we're going to cheat someone. Usually. Okay,
Yeah.
so Alberto,
And
might you get a question?
finally,
Yeah.
finally, it's the question of self-respect, self-esteem.
So
Because no one really good chief will use horse meat instead of real meat.
yeah. So it's about also your personal ethics. Do you want to be running a business which is not completely good? Yeah. So it depends on the character of the manager and stuff. But Enrique, would you be more motivated? Would you be the person that would be prepared to lower the quality of your product for the sake of making more profit?
To save more profit.
Yep. To save money, you would use
Okay.
cheaper materials. Would you be prepared to reduce costs to the maximum?
Yes, in epoch of crisis, I think that is important. Cut corners would be an option.
Yeah. So it's a
Yeah.
strategy to just save as much money as possible. But Michael, what would you be your approach with a business? Would you want to use the cheapest of the cheapest of the cheapest resources?
No, of course no, because I would produce my goods and services for according to standards. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's correct to say. So according to international standards, as ISO, ISO, this kind of standards, HACCP. So this kind of international standards, and there I think it's a requirement of process of producing those goods what you produce, and it's a requirement for quality of materials. So I would follow straight these rules, and I would include the cost of and the cost of goods, and I would emphasize for consumers that my product is better than a Chinese product, for example, that is produced at low quality with some kind of bad materials with plastic that is poisoned, maybe, or something like that.
Okay,
Not
so
poisoned.
you-
How we can say? You know that
Poisoned plastic.
children.
So
No,
you can't
children
eat
play-
the plastic. Okay.
No,
right.
children played with toys in Europe. I had, or in the United States, and someone died, I think, or after that they went to hospital after this playing with
The toys, yeah. So
toys.
the
Yeah,
killer- the
what
killer
is
plastic.
what wrong is with plastic? Not poisoned, but what is?
Contaminated, maybe contaminated.
So not high quality,
Yeah,
low
so-
quality.
I'm not an expert in this kind of field, but plastic is not healthy to eat, right? Yes, you don't just eat. Anyway, okay, so contaminated. So this was maybe plastic with lead or whatever, I don't know. Okay, so you would adhere to all the regulations, all the standards, but you would also cut costs where you can, yeah? So lots of businesses in the UK do, yeah? So they follow all the rules, but they cut costs. EasyJet, Ryanair, what else? Yeah, so the pound store, yeah? Pound shop, where everything.
Yeah, but you do not hear about EasyJet that their plane fell down one day. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
hear this kind of stories, so it's okay. What they cut corners maybe on
behind the scenes, yeah, in the back room. So when
No. I mean, maybe you know what water in aeroplane. If you want water, you pay for water. This
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of facilities for
Yeah. So they don't
not
cut
on
costs.
basis. On
They
basis.
don't cut corners in terms of like their service, in terms of getting customers from A to B safely, but
Yeah.
areas which are wasteful. Yeah.
I
So,
presume.
yeah,
but,
it
I
makes
don't know
sense.
for sure.
Okay, so could we say then, for example, a business like Ryanair then does cut corners? So EasyJet or Ryanair, are you familiar with these companies? And for those in South America, you're maybe more familiar with an American airline called Southwest Airlines. I think it's called Southwest Airlines. But I think that's just within America. But this is a low-cost airline, I think, in America. But in Europe, our equivalent is Ryanair or EasyJet. Enrique, do you have any low-cost airlines in your country?
I don't know. I know Azul. Azul it would be blue in English. It's a low-cost airline, and TAN makes international plane flight.
And is it good? Does it have a good reputation?
Yes, in the low-cost airlines, and the I think that the factories here have to cut. That got fired the employees, and because the crisis.
Okay, so they laid people off, they made people redundant because of the crisis, they didn't survive and stuff like that. Okay, and you hear lots of people in the UK going, "Oh, I'd never fly with Ryanair. Yes, you must be kidding because you're going to die." Things like this. It's actually I always used it because it's basically so cheap, and I thought it was good. It was always on time. It was always early. I know they add time on, to cheat the system or whatever, but it was fine, So Alberto, what about you? Can you name a business in Spain, maybe not an airline, but this is a common example of one that tries to cut corners or tries to minimize costs completely?
Could be, but can't remember. Well, for example, do you know Zara?
Zara, yeah.
Zara?
Yeah.
Yeah, about clothes. Yeah, it's the topic. The owner of Zara, the Zara's owner, is the third richest person in the world.
Wow.
The second or the third,
Yeah,
I don't know. And do you know that 3 or 4 months ago there are an accident in Sri Lanka? No, not in Sri Lanka, in Bangladesh. In one of the factories that works for Zara, for those Occidental marks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but perhaps this is to cut to cut corners.
Okay, so they're trying to cut costs. They're trying to send it to some factories in countries which maybe are cheaper to produce and stuff like that. But yeah, generally the products are okay, right? So I don't know. Zara is really popular for girls in the UK, and they're like Zara. So but it's got a good reputation because it's popular. But yeah, are the products safe?
Sorry?
Are the products safe? They're safe, right? You're not going to wear a Zara product and you're going to die.
I don't know. I don't. I don't waste my money in these shops. But my wife does, and my daughters do too, and then it's impossible to escape from this.
Okay, yeah, but to cut corners would be, for example, not just cutting costs, but making the products you're consciously aware that you're making products not good, yeah? So maybe you're putting your customers in danger, something like this. Okay, Zuran has joined. Welcome, Zuran. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
Cool, good to speak with you, Zuran. We're talking about management, so it's business English and things like this. And the first thing we're talking about is really if managers in our countries cut corners, or if there's examples of businesses which cut corners to make the products maybe not so safe or not so good for the sake of saving money. Okay, so Zuran, have you got an example of maybe a famous story that you've heard in China, in your country, where this has happened?
I didn't understand the noun you said.
What did you say? The train's there again. Okay, so it's an example, maybe a famous story in the news or whatever, in the Chinese news, about a business which has cut corners. So has maybe reduced the quality of the products to save money.
Cut corn.
Yeah. So to not be.
Can you type
Yeah,
it?
sure. Okay, one second. Has reduced the quality of the product intentionally to lower the price, but at the risk of the consumer, meaning putting the consumer at risk in some way.
I see. Cut corners. It means to do something easier, right?
Yeah, to make things easier for yourself. Yeah, as the business.
Let me think over. I heard a story, but it's not in China.
Yeah, go for it. Yep. Could be anywhere.
Okay. A president, a candidate of a president, his assist. One day, they use a photo of this candidate, and they haven't pay money for the holder of this photo. They must pay money to the photographer of this photo, or the photographer will accuse them, and the leader of the assistant team solve this problem with a method. He make a phone to the photographer and asked him, we want to use your photograph as one of our advertisements. How much can you pay for us? And the photographer said, I didn't think about it. Maybe I can pay $100. And the leader said, okay, that's enough. So he avoid the trouble he may meet with. In Chinese, we have a noun to describe this way. To transform a guest into a host.
Okay, that's interesting. To transform a guest into a host, which means what? I'm trying to work it out. So they come as a guest, as in a customer, right? And then they turn into how? Can you explain?
Actually, he should pay to the photographer, but he asked money from photographer.
Okay, yeah. So to turn the tables, yeah, to turn the tables, you can say, I think, in English. Okay, so to turn everything around, yeah, okay, that's interesting. Okay, so that could be to cut corners, to not pay someone on time, things like this. Okay, and that's not ethical. Great. Okay, and Zuran, do you think the skill of becoming, or the skills required to become a manager, are natural, and we're born with these skills, or do you think we have to develop these skills? What would you say? Are they natural skills to become a manager, or are they developed skills?
I think I will choose the natural one.
So you would say it's natural, yeah? So the skills are natural. We are born to be managers. If we have these skills, if we're born with them, then we're going to be a good leader. Okay, that's interesting. Alberto, what do you say to this? Do you think it's natural or developed, the skills?
Sorry, it's natural or developed, what?
The skills to become a manager, are they natural skills, skills we're born with, or developed? We learn how to be a manager.
I think both of them. There are naturals. Undeveloped phases. you have to learn some business topics, but the most important of them are naturals. You have to be, you have to have some, I don't know, some characteristics that are so important in the business world.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's half and half. So part of it, you have to have this kind of sense, this intuition maybe for it. You have to have this natural ability to be able to do certain things, but it's not something completely that's natural. Okay, Dennis, what about you? When you look at the big managers, the big business leaders of the world, do you think they were born with these skills, and do you think they had these skills when they were children? When they were 4 years old, do you think they demonstrated any of the skills that would indicate to someone that they could be a future business leader?
No, of course, if to speak about the real big leaders, of course, they were born with this quality. But I don't know, all qualities can be developed in time, and you should develop it if you want to be a real good leader.
Okay.
But it's safe to speak only about a real leader, real big companies. But to be manager at, I don't know, at supermarket, for example, I don't think you should be born with this quality.
Yeah, so if you're in this kind of middle management, yeah, so middle management is kind of in the middle somewhere, not like you're the top manager. You're not like a normal manager, an operational manager or whatever. You're somewhere in the middle. So you're saying it depends on your level of management as well. Yeah, so management is a real general term, right? So it's not just to find one kind of job role. You can get managers of the apples, yeah, in the market, or managers of the cake section, right? So it's different. Any more comments on this, Michael or Henrique? Henrique, you studied business and things like that. So do you have any more opinions about this? Are you a natural leader? You say you want to be, but do you find it easy to lead people, to inspire people? And what were you like when you were a child?
No, I think that the nature it's important, but you have to develop others things. But the skills that you born is important. Like if you are is a person that is probably to speak more, you will have facilities to.
You have what? Sorry.
Facilities. Facilities.
Facilities.
I thought you said a facelift, yes. Do you know facelift? It's like cosmetic surgery. Yes? You'd have a facelift, okay. Good.
Facelift. You have facelifts to
facilities.
To speak with other people. If you had a mind, mathematics mind, you have ability to get with numbers.
Okay, so everything links in some way.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, are you a natural leader? Were you, when you were 5 years old, at your desk going like this and telling your mum, work more efficiently, make dinner quicker, yeah? Or you're not, you're overpaid.
Maybe you, Martin, speak from your experience, yeah, because I do not know this kind of persons who would say something like that, but I see that you have a great experience in that. So thank you for sharing that with us. But if to speak from my perspective, I think it's not leaders are not born. You're not born leader or not leader.
Yeah.
All qualities are developed in time. So I mean, today you are one man. 5 years later, you will be another kind of people. I mean, all life that you live and your experience through this life, all that happened with you, makes you in some way. So you can be leader, you cannot be leader. If you want, you can be leader. It's a matter of I don't know. time and learning and your desire. So if you want, you will be what you want to be. You can be without. You can be a singer if you want very, very much.
No,
be a
I
singer.
couldn't be. Yes, that one
because
was
you do
ruled
not
out.
want. But if you want very, very much, you should want very, very much to be this kind of to be a singer, for example, and you will be. Of course.
Okay, that's interesting. So you were saying it's what, the things that are around us influence us to decide certain things and to become certain things, to want to become certain things. Okay, and they talk about all the time, like nature and nurture is exactly what we talked about. So the things that we do, our characters, are they developed or were we born with them? This is some kind of theory they always talk about. Yeah, so nature.
So
and nurture.
people are born equal. I mean, you are not born with leader qualities. I am without. Third one with I don't know, speaking capabilities. Fourth one with math capabilities. So they are all equal. But when you start to develop these skills,
No, it's not so.
No. Okay, so you're saying everyone's born as a blank canvas, and they're just influenced, yeah, through their experiences.
yeah, this is my opinion. My opinion.
But the environments where they born.
Oh, sorry, Michael. Michael, I muted you. I meant to mute myself because, guys, can you hear? It's very, very hot in my room. Can you hear the? Bzzz? Is it annoying?
No,
it's not.
not so much.
Good, cool, because I can hear, but that's okay. Go for it. Was that Zuran? Sorry.
I said the environment where they born and where they grow up is not equal. The environment will teach them different things. For example, Jews they are known to be good at business, and some other place are good at and so on.
So it's about your community as well that you're brought in, up in, yeah. So it's true that a lot of good business people in the UK are Indians and Chinese, yeah. So
Yes, there is a province in China. They are famous of their business mind. If I know a man he's from that province, then I will know he's a great businessman.
yeah. Okay, so you're saying it's about also the environment which you're brought up in, yeah. That can have an influence. What's surrounding you?
Yeah, but you are born without any capabilities.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean
something you
without
develop, yeah.
preponderant. Yeah, preponderant.
Sorry?
Do you know preponderant? Do you know
Okay.
this word?
No,
No, dominant capabilities. Another
Okay.
one.
I would say dominating or the ability to the influencing capabilities or inspiring capabilities, anything like that. So the
Yeah.
ability to lead.
No, I mean dominative capability. That's that are more than others capabilities.
Yep. So you're dominating genes, whatever. Yeah. So okay, that's cool. Corey has joined us. Can you hear us? Corey? Okay, I can't hear you. Well, can you hear me? Okay, so we'll come back to you. No, yep, hello? Okay, we'll come back to you, Corey. Cool. Okay, so next question. Are there any business leaders, apart from Bill Gates? Michael, I don't want to hear Bill Gates from you now, that you
You
admire.
don't like Bill Gates.
Yeah, okay.
You're fed up of him.
Let's not go with the PC thing again, yeah? So, Dennis, any business leaders which you really admire because you think they are just great? You think Russian business leaders from your country,
No,
yeah? So let's talk about
no,
leaders from our country.
No, from my country now, definitely. Because I don't know why. Because to think in long terms, it's not to think in long terms. It's a big problem in Russia because of historical reason. I think No, in my country, if to speak about another country, yeah, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, people who created something, yeah, of course.
Something new,
Not
yes?
people who don't deal with the natural sources because it's just completely not interested, for me at least.
Yeah, okay, so something that they're creating something new, not just, getting rich from resources, yeah, which a lot of oil places would
Something what changes the world around you, changes people around you in a good way, of
So
course.
innovation, yeah, something that's a bit innovative, something's new, fresh, not been done before. Okay, that's cool.
Not even innovation, not even technology, not even some kind of particular gadget, but thinking in general.
Something that, yeah, even if it means, okay, what we're going to do is we're making this cheaper, yeah, even if it's nothing new but just the price or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that could also be innovation, but usually we do refer to innovation like with technology and stuff like this, but innovation is anything that is completely new, where people, like I said earlier, have turned the tables, yeah, so have made it different. Alberto, in Spain, yeah, so what about the leader of Chupa Chups or SEAT? I'm trying to think of Spanish companies. Chupa Chups, SEAT, Zara we mentioned, but are there any business leaders that you've heard of in Spain which you really admire?
There are new business in all the world, and mainly in Germany and Austria, and there are some business in Spain that are taken by the Commonwealth economy. Do you know about it?
So I've heard, for example, lots of businesses are being started up in the current situation to, one, create jobs for themselves, and also because lots of people have seen opportunities in the crisis. Yeah, so I've heard about this. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, there are businesses that think that you can have profits, but not cutting the corners, for example, and it's interesting. It's I think the customers have the control of this because they have to decide if they want to buy the traditional goods,
yeah,
made by that's companies like Zara or something like that, or the new business, or to buy goods made by the enterprises that take the Commonwealth economy.
Okay.
And that's it's I think so.
And how do you rate? Yeah, so if you respect, whether or not you respect someone who's successful, do you rate it based on how much money they've already got or what they're doing? For example, for someone to create a good business now in the crisis is something that you can admire, right? Yeah, because they're creating jobs and they're doing something that's maybe quite difficult. So yeah, regardless of how successful they've been up to now, it's just the attitude that's positive and stuff. But yeah, okay. So what would you say, Enrique?
Mark, how about you? Who is the most respectable businessman person in the UK?
Well, okay. So,
and what these people do in general?
My favorite one I've mentioned before is probably Richard Branson, but his family was middle class anyway. So I would respect a business person who has made everything themselves, had no money from parents, and created some kind of big empire just through hard work and things like this. And one of those is a guy called Alan Sugar, which we've talked about before. Michael and I have mentioned before, but he was from a very poor part of London. His family had no money, but he started selling little things on the streets, built up a big business, and now he's got over $1 billion. Yeah, so in a completely honest way. So someone like that I would respect, someone who's done it completely themselves, just through hard work, just through determination, and not someone who's maybe inherited the money or done something a bit dodgy or just been given something on the plate. Yeah, so someone like Alan Sugar I would respect.
And what does he do?
So he started a technology company called Amstrad, which is no longer around, but now he invests in property and stuff like that because he amassed the wealth. But before he had a company which was big in the 80s, I think, and they made computers and things like that. Yeah, so he dealt a lot with Japanese companies and developed products there and brought them here and well to the UK and stuff. Yeah, so he was quite a good one. But there's lots of examples. I'm just looking now, and the top 10 of the UK's brightest young entrepreneurs. There's a lot of young entrepreneurs coming out from the UK at the moment. There's a guy a couple of months ago who developed this app, he sold to Yahoo for $30 million, and he was 16 or 17. Something like that was quite good. He created himself. But there's also these examples. Yeah. So right, this girl Emma Sinclair was the youngest person to float a company on the alternative investment market. She runs Target Parking, which offers a range of services to Britain's car parks, including management, security, cash handling, and facilities. Her business turned over £1.2 million, which is $1.8 million just last year. Yeah, and she's 29. She developed it herself. People like this, I would respect. There's a lot of old money in the UK, as in families with wealth who would just pass them down to their children, whatever. Those people are, yeah, they're going to have wealth, whatever. But these people who do it themselves, I would respect. Okay, so what do you say?
$1 million. $1 million.
$1.8 million last year, yeah. She turned over.
And she's considered as a rich person?
For her age, certainly. For her age, certainly. But of course, she's not a billionaire, no? So I don't know how old her company is. It could be a couple of years old or whatever. But this guy, for example, he's 31. He's achieving... his company's My Voucher Code, which is very popular. I use it. And his company makes 90% profit. And last year, he got a £10 million turnover, which meant he made £9 million. So profit, which is about $15 million last year. And this business is very good. I use it, and it offers basically cheap deals. I'll just show it now because I use it. Anything you want to buy on the internet, you can search on My Voucher Codes, and there'll be a coupon, and you can basically use this coupon to get a discount. So it can be for going to a restaurant, to go to the cinema, to go on holiday, to get a flight. Just search the store, wherever you're buying a product, and there's probably a voucher code for it.
Do you know we have this kind of sites a lot?
Yeah.
I mean, they just started to develop in our country, so we have a lot of this kind of sites. You go there, and if you want to register there, they send you emails with offers. Some kind of if you want to buy
like
glasses,
Groupon, right?
For example, glasses. Buy this coupon from our site for example, $2, and go to that store and pay only $10, and you will have glasses.
Yeah,
for
a
price that's there in store. So basically, you nothing save.
But this you save good money, really good money. And this is about 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old. I just checked. It was developed in 2006. So yeah, now there's a lot of competition, of course. Yeah, but this was probably one of the first ones in the UK at least. And of course, yeah, people try to compete with it now. Yeah, so there's competition. But I would use this. But all I would search for, really, I wouldn't search specifically for this company. Is if I'm booking, for example, a hotel. I'll type hotel, then voucher code, and there's lots of websites like this which will offer. But Did
you put your English lesson on this site?
Not yet, yeah. But
Put.
No, there's Groupon, but the thing is, Groupon takes 50% of the sales price. Yeah. So what you have to do is you have to reduce the price by half, and then also give Groupon, which is the biggest one probably, 50%. Yeah. So if you're selling something for what, I don't know, $10, it's some cakes or whatever, you have to half the price to make it a good offer, so that's $5. Plus you give Groupon $2.50, so really you make $2.50. Yeah. So I don't know if it's good for businesses to do this, but yeah, they do it though. But you've all heard of Groupon, right? You've heard.
Yeah, but I don't know. For me, I don't know how it works. Just I don't understand.
So Groupon, I've never used Groupon, but I keep getting emails. Yeah. So things like buy a lip makeover. I don't want new lips. Yeah. There's other things that maybe, but new lips. What? I don't understand. Okay, so let's go on with you, Henrique. Could you tell us about some business people you admire from your country? And why?
Business people.
Yeah.
Eike Batista, do you know?
Who?
Eike Batista, do you know?
No.
Eike Batista was the 70th man more rich of the world, but when the crisis got in Brazil, she lost money. But she invested in a variety of things at port, oil industry, stock exchange, mine industry, shipbuilding industry.
And why do you like her? Why is she respected?
Because he invests in many things. I think that it's important. Your things that be divided. Because if one thing broke, like I think that in every place of the world, many workers have to. In industry like the oil, if you invest all of your money in oil industry, if the petrol has a problem, you lost your money.
Okay, yeah, so to invest, yeah, so you like people who would invest money in stuff like this. Henrique, are you an investor? Do you like to dabble in a bit of stuff like this? Do you know what this means? So to dabble in something. To dabble in something.
No.
Something is to try your hand at something also. 1 second, I'll write this as well.
I'm on Google Chat.
Okay, sorry. So to dabble in something or to try your hand at something, I'll copy and paste this for you in Google Chat, is just to do something, yeah? So to do a little bit. So Ed, you like, what?
Double.
Yeah, to dabble in something. So
dabbling something.
You're saying, okay, these people invest in stuff. Do you dabble in a bit of investment? Meaning, do you invest a little bit? Do you like this?
Yes, I like this.
So you could say, I dabble in a bit of investment. Or I'm trying my hand at a bit of investment. Yeah? Meaning, of course, you're not a big investor just yet, but you're a budding investor. Okay?
Okay. Budding.
Investor is a developing investor. You're not a top investor just yet, but you have the potential to be. Yeah, so
I'm
you're
mature.
budding.
You're mature.
You're maturing. Yeah, so maturing.
No, amateur.
Amateur. Yeah, amateur. Yeah. And we use this budding. For example, any talents you have, you are a budding, well, whatever. Yeah. So if you are good at acting, you are a budding actor. You're not an actor just yet, but you could be. If you're showing characteristics to be a good business person, you're a budding entrepreneur or a budding business person. Okay? Michael, guess the question.
Sorry?
Guess the question.
Have you ever budding?
No, try again.
Go for it. Say.
Okay, so what are you potentially budding yourself into? No, you can't say that. Wait. Are you budding anything?
And I used to bud, I think 3 years ago or 4 years. Do you know Forex?
Yeah, currency exchange and stuff.
Yeah, currency exchange. You sell and buy, for example, euro for dollars, dollars for yen, something like that. So I studied this domain very, very, very carefully. I went to courses about this domain, 3 courses, of course. I didn't pay anything. So I studied a lot, and I start to what to do, to sell and to buy currency.
Yeah, so to trade in currency.
Yeah, so the idea was that how much I made in the first week, I lost in next week,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
so on. So 50-50. Do you know?
Yeah.
I have $100. Next week, I lose $100.
Yeah. So it's a bit like going on the slot machines. Yeah. So, but you would say, but yeah. Okay, listen to it. Did you make any money from this?
No, when I saw that I have money, yeah, I was very happy. But when I saw that I lose money, I was
You're like,
not so
"Oh,
happy.
yeah."
So I decided to quit. And but the idea was that you need to follow the market to look all what happened in news. And they also, this forex company, they send you information, buy, sell, like recommendations. Yeah, but usually it's like what you said, that you play on game machine on this kind of
Okay, so it's gambling through this.
yeah, gambling.
You would say I used to dabble in a bit of currency exchange. I was a budding, what do you say, currency exchange trader expert person.
Trader, yeah, this is a trader.
So I was a budding trader, but now you gave up on this career, yeah?
So although I studied, I do not entered and I started from zero, but I studied, I talked with a person who, I don't know, advisor, some kind of, not from zero, but it's very, very hard for me at least. Maybe
Yeah.
you can try and you will lose all your money from Werbling, and after that you will quit.
I have nothing, yeah? So, okay, so Michael used to dabble in a bit of currency exchange. Zuran, have you dabbled in anything entrepreneurial? Meaning, have you tried to do something a bit entrepreneurial to make money?
In the beginning of this year, I invest a little money on Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, so this one.
But I invest too late. I missed the peak of the trade, so I lose money from it.
I've got a friend who's thinking of doing this kind of stuff, yeah, so buying Bitcoin, but I think it's the worst thing, yeah, so to do, I'm not sure if it works, but it is so overvalued now. I don't know what the price is, but yeah, okay, so you dabbled in a bit of virtual currency exchange, okay, that's cool. We're running up time, so really, really quickly. In fact, I didn't realize where the time went. Enrique, have you dabbled in anything entrepreneurial?
No, I don't.
Not yet.
I'm lacking money.
It's cool, not yet. But Dennis, have you dabbled in anything entrepreneurial? It doesn't have to be about investing, it can be about anything to make money.
No, I never will.
Okay, so, and Alberto, what about you?
No, I don't have the soul of a businessman.
Okay, so that's cool. We need to learn from Michael, right? Yeah, so Michael should give courses on...
I think you. This was my lesson. 5 minutes. How much I said to you. So this is my lesson. Do not try.
Okay.
Because if you do not have keen on that thing, if you do not have idea, and if you are not, I don't know, a very good economist. No, you can risk with small sums, because now you can enter with $10 on this kind of thing. So you can risk and you will lose, and you will understand that you are not that person.
Okay, so that's interesting. It's cool. Okay, guys, we've run out of time. I've got a debate class straight after if you want to join. If not, speak to you later in a different session, okay? So take care, have a good day, whatever you're doing. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.